Yo, what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway.
You...
It's a major.
Pasar con eso. Pasar con español.
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast.
We are live.
What's going on, my brother?
Man, another weekend in the books. I sort of got him to kill that dog. Man. As soon as I hit record, he barked, screwing up the intro every time. Yeah, out of spite, because he's got weeks left to live. That's all he's got. So he says, "I don't give a fuck."
That's so fucking dark, bro. That's so dark to
He's
say.
14 years old, man. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Whiskey and coffee. That's how I'm doing it right now.
I got whiskey and my big ass jug of water. Feel like Charlemagne the God. You see the Andrew Schultz?
Yeah. He's got a giant fucking thing of water.
He's got a giant jug, but it's like the plastic one. I was like, bro, that water's got to be warm by now.
Wait for it. This is my water.
What is that? You got to come. Oh my god. That coconut water shit.
It's sparkling water. That's all it is. Citrus and green tea. If you want to sponsor us. It's refreshing. With 30 milligrams of caffeine for a little bit of a kick.
Now we're doing commercials. We're doing live commercials now.
That's right.
I'm with it. So yeah, man, before we get into our main topic of today's podcast, right? I want to give you guys a quick rundown again. Coming up this week, September 1st, 2 shirts go live on our Printify. We still got to finish that up, final little touches, and discuss that offline, how we're going to do it with the Shopify and all that stuff. We could discuss it now because that's more stuff that you know about because you've already sold stuff on the internet and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I did want to tell you is they have masks now, son.
Okay.
Like,
get your Man Chatter mask.
So we got to figure out. Yeah, get your Man Chatter mask coming up. Right now we have, if you've looked at our social media, we have the Let's Ride T-shirt for the mountain biking enthusiasts, and the good old Whiskey Wednesday T-shirt that my cousin Alan gave me the shout out. I'm putting the logo on the front in the pocket, and then the back, Whiskey Wednesday Man Chatter podcast. And Patreon kicks off September motherfucking 1st.
That's right.
But yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Like, I wanted to say this on the record. Like, and I was talking about it earlier. Like, I know you've done all this shit before. So like, I feel like you've gotten accustomed to doing a lot of things on your own when like you've merchandised and shit like that. So I never wanted to put it all on your plate to be like, oh wait, I got to do the editing of the video, make these shirts while Ben just has to deal with his shitty internet. So I wanted to make sure our partnership and our podcast partnership was 50-50.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's never going to be one side. That's why like I designed the shirts and I still send it to you. We're like, yo, man, what do you think about this? How does this work? And side note, it is hard as fuck to find a woman running with a chancleta in her hand, chasing a child. It is damn near impossible, bro. Damn near impossible on Canva.
Yeah, man, you've been doing a lot of it actually on that end. So, and I've been out of the net with the driving and traveling and I was gonna say projects at home, even though my wife is doing about 99.876% of the work. But
that's a hell of a percentage.
Yeah, probably more. I'm actually probably like underselling her. She's probably doing like 99.98 or whatever. You know, I gotta give myself a little bit of credit.
You got to.
Yeah.
That's on this podcast.
So yeah, you've been doing a lot of that stuff on that end. Hell, I still gotta record my clips. I already know what I'm saying. I just gotta get my son to direct me, because then not only are you putting me down, but when he directs me and when I'm starting to record these clips for the Patreon intro, he's gonna be insulting me as well. So I'm gonna be getting insulted by my 12-year-old, who, by the way, probably got it from you. I mean, he was doing it already, but then when we went to visit you last month, he said he got it firsthand, and he goes, "Oh, that's how you do it." Yeah. So that's what I got to look forward to tomorrow.
Learn from one of the goats. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think your son is gonna be highly critical of you trying to act, right? Like, I think no, Dad, you got to do this. No, Dad, that's not it. No, Dad, I don't know what you're doing. He's gonna hit you with like just a little more, but also a little less.
That's what he does, right? He goes to acting class. He's done some acting already. Although I will say this, he was reading the lines because that's not acting. I wrote the lines just so I have an
Yeah,
overarching like idea of what I want to say. It's not really gonna be
yeah,
scripted. And he read it and
of
he goes,
course.
"Oh, you got all the funny lines." So I was like, "That's right, damn right I do." Because how do you kick it off with, "Hey guys, this is blah 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 blah." I don't want
Yeah,
to give it,
yeah, yeah,
and then my
yeah,
line is, you guys will see what my line is.
yeah. Right. It's weird though, right? Because I'm like, let's usually like the one that like keeps us in line and we're like, hey man, all right, next stop or whatever.
That's
And
right.
like on this one, it's the roles are completely
They are
reversed. Where like
reversed.
I have to be I have to be the serious one. You know what I mean? Like write us, and so I was like, oh man, this is an alley oop, but I'm Chris Paul, and you're fucking DeAndre Jordan, right?
This
Like
time around, I am.
I'm Chris Paul. Yeah, like I'm alley oop. This is Lob City in this bitch.
That's
Like
right.
I looked at it, I was like, yo, I'm being the meticulous one. This is like you listen to the podcast, not at all what it is. Like not at all what it is. I go on my rants, talk my shit.
And they're gonna say,
But
"Hey
yeah,
man,
man.
we're 25 minutes over a 30-minute podcast. Let's reel it in, please." But it's funny
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you wrote it all out. You wrote out most of the script, and then I
Yep.
just kind of red
Yep.
inked at least the stuff that I was gonna say, even though you got
Yep.
most of it right. But I threw in
Yep.
there some of the. It was too
It
formal.
was
It was too formal,
yeah
too
for who we
professional.
are.
Not that it's not professional, but
Yes.
I was like, this is not how we speak. This is not who we are. Let's throw a
Yes.
little flavor in
Yeah.
there.
I didn't like I tried to hit like the bullet points of what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like because even like reading the script and reading it over, dude, there's the shit I sent you. There's outtakes upon
I
outtakes
bet.
of shit where I'm oh my god, dude. Like and I couldn't like think of the lines because then if I forgot them, like in the next take I would be mad. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, fuck, I forgot this. All right, nigga, no, gotta do it again. So like I was just like, look, I was like, look, I almost talked to myself. I was my own director. I was like, look, this is what you have to say. Just keep it. You know what I mean? Just keep it light. Just keep it whatever. Like, dude, like here's a little inside baseball to anybody listens in the podcast. Like the last one when I'm like laughing, and I'm like, oh, welcome to Man Chatter.
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you, bro. Legit fake laugh. I was like making. I was thinking of like because at that point I was like, all right, man, let's just knock it out. Let's just knock it out. I was just like, let's just fucking do it. I had a shot of whiskey. I was like, let's just fucking do it, bro. Let's just laugh, make it light. Because this podcast is never gonna be an informational Young Turks, David
No.
Packman, you know what I mean, Sam Cedar, fucking Steven. No, I can't say Steven Crowder because there's no information there. You know what I mean? But it's never
entertaining.
gonna be that type of podcast. You know, it's entertainment. Like this is you're here to laugh, here to talk shit. Like this is what it is, bro. It's two best friends talking shit, drinking whiskey, and trying not to get our dogs to get on the podcast while we hit record. Right? Like at the end of the day.
They never give me any attention until I go on the podcast and they want to bark their ass off.
Yeah, it's so crazy, bro. But yeah, man. So the shirts are gonna be up in 2 days, with more to come. Masks in the project down the pike. Got some, dude. They got like bomber jackets now. Got to figure out different things we want to do with that. And I definitely like. I'm asking you, and I'm asking other people for input because I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm a very simplistic fashion guy. Like I'm black shirt, white shirt.
Right.
I mean, color shirt, and then shoes match. So I'm trying to make it, you know what I mean, as open as possible. Like I'm thinking of like shirts to design for women because this isn't just a man podcast. It's just two men talking shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I got to get my samples in for the not the regular cotton shirt, but I want to put them on a different type of shirt, maybe like the breathable dry fit, and I think they have that on the store. And since we have a Let's Ride shirt, what better type of t-shirt or shirt to put it on than one of those? Just to take it out on the ride and see what it feels like.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to email you what I need to do. I need to email you the Canva stuff, right? Because I even made some changes last night to like the Whiskey Wednesday shirt.
Okay.
We're making this too long. But the Whiskey Wednesday shirt, like I changed the font.
I agree. You
on
talk
the
too
back
much,
and
dude. Just shut up and get the show
I do.
started.
Yeah. So I brought down the font, and I brought up the font like where that like almost like covers both sides of the whiskey glasses on the back. So I worked on that. But yeah, man, it's just a work in progress. Like, oh, what looks good? What about this? But yeah, man, that's just what's coming up. Trying to make this podcast thing viable, trying to work hard at it because this is a partnership. This is teamwork here. You know what I mean? I definitely appreciate everything you do, and the fact that I've said it on a recording, I can't take it back. And I'd feel kind of disgusting having said it out loud. If I'm being honest with you.
I'm gonna put it out there on a mixtape.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remix this
Oh
shit.
my god, a mixtape, make a playlist, bitch. Who makes a mixtape? What are you gonna remember where to say pause and hit play? So remember when you really had to make a mixtape?
Dude,
Like really
you had to like be paying
What?
attention to, like, so you don't catch the damn commercials or the DJs talking.
I always hated like this. We're going back now. I always hated like when you would listen to Power Love Hour and they would play like those classic R&B songs, and then you catch the guy at the end like, hey, ladies, thank you so much for
I know.
for calling into the Power Love Hour. All right, man, what the fuck, dude? There's guys listening too. I want to hear that shit.
Right. And by the way, I had
Try to keep it light.
yeah, when I was when I was a freshman in college, I had like 7 volumes, okay, of CDs, because thank God CDs were around by that time.
Right.
And
Yes.
everyone knew Napster. Okay, Napster, I'm not going to hide it. Everyone knew about Napster.
Yeah, of course.
So I had a set of CDs. They were called Let's Get a Room, Volume 1 through Volume 1 through 7. I think I still have them. I just got to go into like the attic and find my... You remember those like 256 or 128 CD books? I mean, that
Yes.
look, that thing hasn't been open in so long that I think the CD covers are sticking to like the plastic sleeves. So I got to find them.
No, son, real shit. Those plastic sleeves were really sticky, bro.
They
Like
were.
for no reason.
Like,
Like
what's the
they
point?
needed to
It
be, like,
destroyed my CDs.
what? It was like a silicone. It was like a thick silicone. It
Yep.
just needed to be a thin sheet of plastic. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? My God. You had, all right, if we're doing it, you had that. I had Baby Making Music, Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mind you, no kids, right? Didn't happen.
Right.
So the playlist weren't very, it just didn't happen. But yeah, no, I definitely had those. I had, dude, I remember I had one like Feeling on Your Booty because of the R. Kelly song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was those songs. Which, by the way, I listened to R. Kelly the other day. Still great music. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect here, guys. I don't cancel people because you tell me I'm supposed to. No, I'm just gonna listen to the music that he used to.
Come on
I
now.
Believe I Can Fly. I was singing that shit in my kitchen hard, boy. What? Ah, man, that's a classic.
Yeah. Still listen to it. TP2.com.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
TB2.
That entire CD?
Yeah, man.
No.
Dude, Love Letter was a good fucking album. What are you talking about? Love Letter was good. Fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, even when he changed to
listen.
like when he started doing Chocolate Factory and that like that Chicago
Yeah.
what was, I forget what it's like, Chicago step or whatever, that type of music, like
Yep. Dude, I had what was it? There was, forgot the name of that fucking. There was Love Letter was good. I still listen to R. Kelly. I was like, and I remember I was sitting there. I was like, you're gonna judge me for this. Hey Google, play R. Kelly on Spotify.
what
I
did
was
Google
in
say?
this-
Sorry,
I
he's
was
been
in this-
canceled.
Sorry, he's been canceled. We can't play that right now, guys. It gave me the end user license agreement. But yeah, man. Look, there's no easy way to segue into this next topic, right? Like
Yeah.
the topic that we wanted to talk about. Like we talked about it. There's some stuff going on in my personal life with some friends and family members. You know what I mean? So this one hits close.
Yeah.
And Friday night, the news broke 2 days ago. Now, if you're listening to future podcast, that was my dog that just hit the fucking webcam. 2 days ago, we lost a legendary actor, 43 years old, Chadwick Boseman. And I want to open it up to you first because I can talk about this. You know what I mean? I've been a fan of his, as like since I think one of his first roles was like when I saw him out of nowhere was Get On Up, where he played James Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He did Thurgood Marshall. He did, Black Panther, obviously. I mean, there was movies we were talking about offline, 21 Bridges, that we still have to see.
Right.
There was no role. I'll say this about him, right? There was no role that he played that he didn't bring a level of class and humility and just overall brilliance to that I hadn't seen, and I'll be honest, I hadn't seen since Denzel. Right? Like there was a level of class that when Chadwick Boseman, like, dude, go back to the Jackie Robinson movie, right? That you've seen.
That's the one. That's how I
most
was
people
introduced to him. 42. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that was his first major role where I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? and he just brought this calmness to every role. Like if you watch, I think Marshall right now is on Amazon Prime. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to put it all out there, right? You could watch The Five Bloods, which is one of his second to last movies on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
He always brought something to a role that I hadn't seen since Denzel. That one hurt, bro. Like I'm usually that guy that doesn't feel celebrities' death because I don't know him.
Me
But
too.
like the impact that Chadwick Boseman had and will continue to have for generations to come watching these movies was something different, man. It really was. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
What you got?
shame that, like I said, I've only seen him, and I saw him in 42. I knew about Marshall, hadn't seen it yet. Knew about Get On Up. The Marvel movies, right? I think he played Black
Yep.
Panther, obviously, but I think you first saw him in like one of the Captain America movies where
So
he was introduced,
yeah, Civil War.
Civil War.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
his filmography is just too short because that's the. I mean, besides the fact that he's gone, it's that you said he'll be remembered, but he doesn't even have that many films out there. I think he was just getting started. And you mentioned Denzel, and Denzel, who, by the way, I think is underappreciated, should have won Academy Awards. I don't know how many times over.
Hmm.
He was just
Hmm.
getting into that part of his career where he was probably going to have the next 10 to 15 years of like just solid, probably,
Hmm.
some Academy Award worthy, like impactful roles. And I mean,
Yep.
he was 43. I had no idea
Yep.
until the news broke. When I sent you the message, maybe you had already heard about it, but I had no idea that he was dealing with any of that. No clue.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, they kept it. They kept it very, very private. I know. I remember like 2 months ago, in the middle of the COVID madness, right, like at the height of it. He did a video. I think did like an interview for the Five Bloods, the movie that came out on Netflix,
okay.
and he looked gaunt.
Uh,
He didn't look good,
yeah.
right? And people on social media, again, they're vicious, and they were calling him Crack Panther because they kept it very in house, calling him Crack Panther,
Right.
and what's wrong with him. Like people were worried, like people, and it wasn't all that, right? Like people weren't all like nasty and shit. Like yo, what's going on with? Is everything all right with Chadwick? Is what's going on? Like
Mm-hmm.
people were worried, but nobody said anything. Nobody released anything. Nobody knew till Friday night, right? Till the news broke and it caught everybody in shock because
Yeah, I bet.
he was 43. You know what I mean? Super young. And again, had the next 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years of acting and life ahead of him, right? And it's just, dude, it's heartbreaking. It's honest. It's so crazy to think because you think these people, we make mistake that these people who have it all are gonna be able to outlive everything, right? Like
Right.
they have all the money, they have all the resources and everything. Like oh, they know the best doctors, and I think it happened first with like maybe like Steve Jobs, when you're like, yo, like this guy is multi-billionaire over, but it's life is what it is and death for everybody. You don't like you because you picture him as a superhero. You picture him as T'Challa. So it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's the role, right? Even though I was introduced to him when I saw 42, that's the one that you kind of that he'll probably be remembered by, just because it has
Hmm.
such a, and it's not that it's the most important one, but it's the one that has the greatest reach, right? If you look at the box office and the amount of people that went to watch that movie, and not just that, but I mean, it was a hell of a performance, and like you said,
Yes.
even in that role, we're talking about a Marvel movie now. Even in that role, he brought
Yeah.
dignity to the screen, to the role.
Hmm.
You remember there were at that time, like, God, was it 2018? Now I'm gonna have to look it up when the movie came out. I think it was 2018. Yeah, Black Panther 2018, and
Hmm.
there were. I would watch it in the news. There would be people like black folks coming out of the theaters, um, doing the whole Wakanda thing, right? Yeah, but
Yep.
it
Yep.
was almost like he brought, you know, we've been going through this. It's not new, right? Black people getting shot by the police. I hate to bring it up when we're
Yep.
talking about it,
No,
but
you're
that
right.
was during a hard time. Like that was during another time in the history of this country
Yep.
that those similar events were going on, and it's a constant conversation of like systemic racism, things like that, and he was like a
Equality.
hope, like a ray
Yep.
of light, like something.
Yep.
Even though it's a movie, even though it had nothing to do with the real world, it was just like an inspiration and like a hope that he brought to everyone, not just black people, but just like everyone. And it was pretty inspirational to see, and
Yes.
and that was just 2 years ago, man. That was just
I
two
know.
summers ago.
Dude, and he was and all that time filming Black Panther, going through all the press junkets and all that shit. He was battling this disease, right? This battling cancer, battling colon cancer.
Yeah.
Dude, and I was thinking of, and I'm glad you brought that up, right? Like I thought about that earlier today, and actually during the time it was happening, where it was this thought where like, how is it that this fictional character has made such an impact, right? Because he was the first black superhero. Like
Right.
there was a bunch of people trying to be like Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you think about it, and again, look, well, if you watch this, you can clearly see we're two Hispanic men. If you listen to us, you just realize we're two Hispanic guys.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we've had the conversation in the past. Like, we get we get whitewashed in a sense, right? And this isn't like a race topic. This is just like an overall thing. We get whitewashed in a sense where like we don't have heroes who look like us besides Lin, like currently living and historically that we can really think of, right? Besides what Lin Manuel Miranda and Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, right?
Right.
That are people or men and women of color that have done something great that you can latch on to, right? And you think about Black history, just off the top of your head, MLK murdered by the government, charged by it, like that's been proven.
Right.
Mar- uh, Malcolm X, you have John Lewis got his head beat over, I mean, in Selma,
Sama. Yeah.
and you have this role where a powerful black man and powerful women around him were never angry, were just class personified, and it took and it took a fictional character to wake people up, like, oh wait, you know what I mean? We can be, you know what I mean? We can be this, and oh wait, they can, you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
woke a lot of people up because it wasn't just, let's be real, it wasn't just black people doing the Wakanda salute,
No.
right? The
No.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
There was white people and Hispanics because it was like this pride that this beautiful movie was made, and it was transcendent. It made $1.3 billion.
Mm-hmm.
It is the highest grossing Marvel film besides the four Avenger movies,
Right.
right? So
Yeah,
it's
it
the
was
four
huge.
Avengers and then Black Panther. It was huge. And think about the ensemble cast. Why you go see an Avengers movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was the one, and it just, dude, I didn't realize it till today. Like, representation matters that much, and that's what Chadwick Boseman brought to the table. Like, he made every role he was in matter, right? Like, he didn't. I've seen most of his movies now, besides 21 Bridges, that I'm gonna watch at some point in the next week,
I'm gonna have to watch that tonight.
and I've watched every. Yeah, yeah, I would if it wasn't for Lovecraft Country, which we'll talk about that on another show. You know
Shout
what I
out to
mean? Like
ExpressVPN.
it's shout out to NordVPN and IP Vanish. Thank you very much. But yeah, man, like he brought a class to it where like I didn't want on this podcast, and we talked about it earlier. I didn't want to like talk about anything else because I Chadwick Boseman is a podcast, a lifetime, on everything. You know what I mean? Like in that situation where like it's too soon, right? And I told you like it hits home to me because it's too soon for people close to me. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, man. And like you've been kind of keeping me in the loop, sort of. I mean, you and your wife, you guys are going through a lot. Having people
Yep.
close to you, and uh, yeah, I don't know how you guys are doing it, man. That's got to be rough.
Dude,
It's corny, right? Like say you're probably
yeah,
saying you take it one day at a time or whatever, but
yeah.
I mean, what can you do? Like,
Dude, it's hard. Like I'll tell you like this, like it's hard, like because one of us has to be the strong one. You know
mhm.
what I mean? Like, and it's hard like trying to be the strong one when somebody else is hurting because you kind of come off like a dick. You know what I mean? Like, oh look, we gotta think about other things to think about. but then like you think, oh, let me get a break, and then last week happens, last Wednesday happens, right? Like with the madness in Kenosha.
Mm-hmm.
No, let me just come up for air for a second. Then Friday happens, where you're hit with more sober realization of how fickle and how quickly life can change.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you think again, like it goes back to like you think of somebody that with all the means in the world can beat it, right? And then how do you think of somebody who might not have all that at their disposal? You know, and it's people that have cared about that have lost their loved ones. It doesn't just mean it doesn't just attach itself to like Chadwick Boseman.
Right.
It's so much bigger than that, right? Like if he can't, like it's almost like if he can't beat it, how can anybody else? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's a realization, like you said, that you can't, no matter how much money you have, you know, Steve Jobs, billionaire, 50,
Mm-hmm.
60, 70 times over, couldn't beat it. This guy, multimillionaire, couldn't beat it. I mean, so having said that, right? Like it's always, I don't know why I always have to get a jab at our social structure or the lack of a safety net, but these are
Yeah.
millionaires and billionaires that have all the resources available to them,
Yep.
and they still couldn't figure it out. And we have just everyday people who are suffering just as much, more, and even some
Yes.
that have other ailments that are not nowhere near as bad, and yet they're suffering because they don't have the means to afford,
Yes.
with a Medicare or Medicaid doc. Like they're really gonna get the best care available to them. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Dude,
mean,
like
I'm one of
I
those
don't.
people that says I don't care either about like or a celebrity passing isn't going to affect my day to day. But it kind of does
Right.
remind me, of like how short, like how little time we have. Like anything, anytime we're out there, something can happen to you. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. It's a lot of things that are out of your control,
Yep.
and it just,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's this like there's this invincibility we attach to celebrities, right? And then the roles they play with superheroes and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And then when you have something like that happen to somebody you equate to a Black Panther, right? Or to a Jackie Robinson, which was a real life superhero with what he faced.
Right.
Like there's these moments that you're like, fuck, man, if he can't or she can't, how the fuck am I supposed to figure this shit out? Like how the fuck is this person supposed to figure it out? Like it's heavy, bro. Like, and it's not. Listen. If you listen to our show, like, and you're not prepared, like every podcast is gonna be different, right? Like we're never just gonna cover one thing. We're not, because again, like we talked about on the last podcast, and we covered it all, right? Like we're never gonna, because we're not a black and white friendship. We're not black and white people. We're gonna talk about our nuance and the things that matter to us, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, dude, again, like I keep going back to it. Like it's just hard, bro. Like it's supposed to be Wakanda forever. You know what I mean? Not Wakanda at 43. Like then what? Like what do you do with one of the most iconic characters of all time with an incredible actor? You can't continue it, right? Like how could you?
I don't know. I don't know. It's the just how short his life was too, and you compare that to the roles that he played, like these
Mm-hmm.
greater, like he Thurgood Marshall. I think he who
Mm-hmm.
else was it? James Brown. I haven't seen Get On Up. Thurgood Marshall, James
Yeah,
Brown, uh,
I think he played like a bunch of different. I think he
Jackie.
might have
Yeah,
played James Brown, Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson,
I
and
think
then
he
of
played like a
course Black Panther.
iconic roles, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
iconic roles, bro. Iconic fucking roles. Like yeah, his filmography isn't that long, but the impact he left is felt by everybody.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just class personified, man. Like he graduated from Howard University. Like I looked up his whole backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated from HU. He studied filmography there and like went to like NYU. Figured out that he wanted to be a director and producer. Learned how to act. And then went to NYU. Graduated from there and then became an actor, did some small film shit, and then got his big break with Jackie Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
and then that just steamrolled. Like, dude, like it's so crazy, man. Like it leaves you with like this life unfulfilled, you know. And again, like I could bring that back to my current personal stuff. So it's so crazy, bro. It's so crazy. I don't know. Whew.
That's
Heavy
heavy.
boy, heavy.
That's heavy,
It's
man.
heavy. It's really like it's and I thought I was talking about like with Danny, right? Who we know, and he's like, "Yo, you could do a whole podcast on Chadwick Boseman." I was like, Chadwick Boseman was like so much. It's so much of a bigger commentary than just him, right? Like it's people that we know and love that we've lost because most people know somebody who they've lost to cancer,
Hmm.
right? That's either battling cancer or have lost their family members, mothers, fathers, you name it, to
Right.
cancer. So this is a bigger
There's
commentary
yeah,
even
there's
on
that
that.
conversation. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it goes back to what you said, right? Like where if somebody had all the revenue and resources at their disposal, if they couldn't do it, like how are we supposed to figure it out? Like there's people who can't work anymore. You know what I mean? Who have no income, who had careers,
Hmm.
who had
The
what I mean,
family,
all this stuff,
wife,
and now they're
kids,
left. Yeah,
brothers.
fam. Yeah, dude. It's a heavy one, man. Like it's never gonna be laughs and dick jokes, man. Like it's never always just gonna be. It's never just always gonna be that. Like there's that sobering life that hits you like a motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
And you gotta talk about it. You gotta not embrace it because it always hurts. You know what I mean
Hmm.
when people suffer and shit like that. But you gotta acknowledge it and realize that this shit is not promised, bro. Like tomorrow, anything can happen. The day after, you know what I mean? Like yesterday, somebody lost somebody yesterday. So why, you know what I mean? Why waste your time on other shit? Which is why I'm going so hard with this podcast shit, right? Like, well, we're going so hard on it, like making things happen and like gotta make shit happen, bro. Like it is what it is.
It's not even just like making shit happen. Like, look, whether we monetize it to the moon or we don't, like this is what we enjoy doing. And
Yes.
if we continue doing what we do and taking these steps that we're taking, then and we're able to monetize it, great. But like you said, life is short. I mean, like why put off doing something that you want? And now that we're doing it, then we the natural progression is to, okay, let's see what the next step is and what else can we
Yep.
do, and we're enjoying it. But too many people, and we're fortunate in that way that we can, even though we're doing this on the side, we're still putting a lot of time and effort into doing it. We're
Yeah.
fortunate that we do have that time to put in, and a little bit of money to put into it, where some people don't have the ability to pursue those passions.
Yeah.
But if you do, man,
Dude,
like
like
whatever your passion is, if you have the time, whatever little time it is, do it. You don't want to have regrets.
yeah, like I'll tell you this, man. Like if we never quote unquote make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're never Fighter and the Kid or Joe Rogan, I've just enjoyed having these conversations with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
And just talking shit. Like one of my like Danny, right? One of my other best friends. Like he's designing shoes now. Like I sent him my white Air Force Ones, and he's gonna make them into hurricane colors, right?
Okay.
And I was like, and I'm applauding the shit out of that. I was like, too many times as people and the society we're living in, we're in these moments where like I have to bash this, right? Where like I have to make a comment on this in a
Yeah.
negative way, where it doesn't really bring anything to the table, right? Like I had a back and forth with one of my friends, Chris, right? Where like the whole Kenosha shit.
Yeah.
I was like, it got to the point where like we're still friends, we're good. You know what I mean? I actually enjoy the conversation with him, regardless if he's on the opposite side. But like at the certain point, it was like you have to be weary of like what you're bringing into your universe because it could only lead to negative things. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Where like I tried like I did that for my own mental health, right? Where there's certain things that I just couldn't give energy and space to. But I will always applaud anybody who like if that's what they want to focus on, hey man, do your thing. But you have to be controlling and wary of what you bring into your space in your universe because if it doesn't make you better as a person, you know what I mean? Knowledge makes you better and all this shit, but like you just have to because we're here for a good time, not a long time. You know what I mean? Like we're not like this shit can all change very
Yeah.
quickly, and it becomes a very different space
I'm,
before we fucking know it.
I'm here for the gangbang. I
Okay,
forget what movie that's from, but I
no,
just had to get it out there. I don't know what.
is
I
that
forget.
is that Orgasmo? No, you know what it
No,
is?
it's a
Oh no, I know exactly what that is, son. That's the movie. That's fucking Neighborhood Watch. It's the Watch.
yeah,
It's the alien. The
yeah,
alien.
yeah. That's
It's
the one.
yeah, the alien. He's like, he's Australian. He's like, excuse me, guys, I'm here for the gangbang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, come on in. And he like, that's why he saves the world because he banged a bunch of bitches. It's so crazy.
But no, I don't even think it's that one. It's one before that one too. But I know the Neighborhood Watch too. That's with like Ben
Yeah,
Stiller.
yeah.
But
Ben Stiller, Jonah Hill, Vince Vaughn,
Yeah.
legendary Vince Vaughn,
yeah,
and I want to say Taika Waititi, but I never remember the other guy's name because Taika Waititi is the one that like directed Thor Ragnarok and all that other shit. Because I'm a fucking nerd about movies,
I'm not that
but I
much of a
can't
nerd.
ever remember that other actor's name.
Man, you said something that earlier that I find a little scary because it might apply to me. You know, you said someone has to be the strong one, right? And I have this feeling. Someone said something to me. Someone that I know, they told me that the army made me like it made me hard or unfeeling
I hate
or
that saying. I hate that saying.
without
I hate that
emotion,
shit.
right?
Yeah.
And so I have, eventually, like,
Say it. Just
if,
say it,
no,
man.
I'm saying eventually, like
Yeah.
some, people we love are gonna pass, right? Whether it's my mother, I'll say
Yep.
it's my other relatives, my older relatives, whatever. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be that person that's just like emotionless,
Yeah.
even though I might be like all torn up about it, and I you might not be able to see it on my face. Like I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
That's funny that you said it. Like there's this thing, and I honestly want to say it is like a military. I want to say it is an army thing, right? Because we can't speak for all military.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't. We can only speak for the branch we served, right? There is that part where like because you're always told to prepare for loss, that you handle things differently in those moments, right?
mm-hmm.
Where like people think you're going to be cold when you're just trying to be strong for like all your battle buddies or your squad, because that those battle buddies and those things change, right? Where it becomes civilians, your wife, your kids,
Yeah,
and all these other things. Like where men, where we as men, this is actually something I thought about earlier. Where we as men are always told to be the strong ones. You know what I mean? And it's
mm-hmm.
like, and then like, where do we get to like mourn or cry or talk about all those other things? Because we need that shit too, right? Like we're always taught like, oh, if you cry, you're not a man, or if you deal with your emotions, you're not a man. And then the army doubles down on that shit because you hear about battle buddies dying
Yeah.
or somebody that you like shared a beer with one time on a line or a balcony, whatever the fuck you call it, whatever station you're at. So there's that aspect of it, right? It's not that you're colder. It's just that like when you're at your most formative and influential years, you're told, "Hey, man, don't bring that weak shit here." Where weak shit is seen as emotion,
Right.
right? So like when those things happen, and I'm guilty of it, man. It's like, oh no, let's not bring that shit to the table. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about this T-shirt real quick. Let's talk about, you know what I mean? Let's talk about literally anything else
But that,
other than your emotions. But like I'll watch Mufasa die and I'll cry. You know what I mean? Where like those things, I'm like, I'm cool. All right, yeah, okay. This is a reasonable position for me to cry in. But like you trying to talk to me about like how much pain you're in. Oh, let's talk about something else. There is that part of it where like 18, 19 years old, maybe 20 when you went in,
mm-hmm.
we're told those moments are like, hey man, like no. Don't bring that emotion shit here. You got to be tougher than everybody else.
Yeah,
That shit's
I've
hard,
told
bro.
that.
That
I've told
shit's
that to my
hard.
kids, right? Especially my youngest when I tell him. Maybe he's overly sensitive too, but I tell him, hey, like it's all right to cry. Like, and they don't really usually, if ever, have seen me cry. But I tell him like, look, it's all right. Like, don't do it in front of people that do it with family, right? So don't do it all the time, or I'm gonna slap the crap out of you. No, but I was like, look, don't let people. Unfortunately, people are shitty, And if they see
Yes.
weakness, and weakness is you showing emotions, they're gonna jump on it and try to take
Yep.
advantage of you. Don't do it, but don't
100%.
but don't not do it at all. Like, do you think I've not? Do you think I don't have emotions? Like, I don't cry. Like, you don't see me do it. But there's been times where like I'll just go in a room and I'll fucking cry my eyes out for 5 minutes, and then that's it. And then I
Yep.
get it over with, and I move on, and I go through whatever I got to go through because it's not good to hold it in. You can't hold it. Whatever
No,
it
it's
is
not.
that's bothering you, you can't hold that shit in for like 5 years, and then
No.
all of a sudden you get an AR-15 and you go shoot a fucking school. No, you
Or you put one in your head.
or you put one in your head. You talk to someone, and if you don't want to talk to someone, and all you need to do is cry, and like you just then that's what you do. Go into a room and cry and get it out, and then take a breath and keep going with your day. Whatever it is you got to do, don't hold it in. Uh,
No. Like
yeah,
with people losing loved ones and all this stuff, like as men, right? Because this podcast is called Man Chatter, right?
I
For
think so.
I'm assuming for the most part, people who listen to this podcast are men. I'm assuming that. I don't know. And for the men that are listening to this podcast, hey man, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to let external things bother you. It's okay to talk to people about your feelings. Like, don't ever think that's a sign of weakness. If somebody picks on you for that, that's a sign of weakness on their part.
Yep.
That's not an indictment of you, man. Like this Chadwick Boseman shit rocked me in a lot of different ways, man. And where like it was so unforeseen. Where like because I'm preparing for one thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Where you're almost like in the ring, right? And like you're prepared for this right hook because this person had this right hook. All of a sudden they hit you in the liver. That's what this shit felt like. You know what I mean? Because I'm dealing with so much and trying to be strong in one aspect. Whereas like, fuck, man, like can't like what happens now? Like
Yeah.
fucking Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like, and it's again, it's not he's not actually Black Panther. He's Chadwick Boseman, husband, son, brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this shit, cousin, all these things that are actually humanizing to him. But like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You know
Like,
what I mean?
this is how messed up it is. When I was deployed, when I back in 2013, 14, before we deployed, there was one of the guys on my squad who his dad was terminally ill, and
Right.
so we were. I mean, we knew, we knew, and like we just told him don't deploy. Like he didn't know. They didn't know if it was 6 months, 12 months, whatever. And
Right.
you know, he was so while we were prepping, he was doing a lot of going back and forth to the hospital to see his dad, and chain of command let him deploy. Whatever, they allowed him to deploy.
Right.
Uh, I, I thought it's like, look, we have plenty of time. We can find someone else to go with us. I was the squad leader and the NCOIC for that office that I was going to be running, and I
Right.
thought we could find someone else. Chose not to. They chose. Oh, they I guess they left it up to him. He wanted to go.
Yep.
3 months in, his dad passes, and so we had 6 months left in the deployment. It was a nine month deployment, and he didn't want to go back. You didn't see any emotion on his face. He's like he had a smile on his face, and I was 30, 30. I was turning 30. I hadn't even turned 30 yet that year, and he was like in his early 40s, late 30s, right? You know,
Right.
you can join the army pretty much any time up to 35. So he was an
Mhm.
older guy, but he didn't want to go back. Like he was just like, no, I don't want to leave you guys and this and that, and we deployed, and I'm gonna leave the team short, and I had to talk to him, uh, just one on one, like away from this, like, hey man, this is your dad, your mom's over there,
Yep.
your sisters,
Yep. Yep.
like you guys didn't have a bad relationship. I knew that already. They didn't have a bad
Right.
relationship. Like your family needs you. Yeah, I get it. We're family. I mean, we deployed, we train together, we sleep,
Yep.
I do everything together. That's your dad, and your family needs you to go back. If the situation allows for you to come back after you go do what you got to do, that's fine. But he didn't come back because we just had he went back and had like an early return, um, because he doesn't need to come back to deployed environments after his dad passed away. Like, and then he definitely didn't need to stay with us to just go home 6 months later after whatever arrangements were taken care of, after the funeral, after everything, and he wasn't there to assist with it or be present at the ceremony. But yeah, I mean, it's that kind of it was a little bit of everything, right? That it seemed a little toxic because it's that whole thing. I get it, where you're part of the squad and you don't want to leave like your team members. And he also, man, I didn't see him shed a tear. Like he and I were talking one on one, and he finally broke down a little bit, but you just never saw it. And I was like, look, man, it's all right. Like that's your dad, man. Like that's the bottom line. No one's gonna hold it against you. As a matter of fact, like I don't want you staying here. You don't need to stay here. We're gonna miss you, but your family needs you right now. And like sometimes like you need to be told that by you need to be told that by
By
someone
another man.
because someone might need to tell me that too one day when something God forbid, it's gonna happen at some point, right? Because that's what happens. The
Yes.
natural order of things is that our parents pass before we do, and
Hopefully, yeah.
someone's gonna have to tell me
Right.
like, hey, that's your mom. You need to go over there and do this, or it's all right to cry, or regardless of your rocky relationship, like like if I'm holding it together, it's gonna affect me. I know it is, but I'm gonna have the same
Yeah.
face, and yeah. Even though I was the one
Yeah,
like
dude.
counseling him
It's
that day, someone's gonna have to like remind me to say, hey, it's all right. Like you
yeah.
can grieve,
And
you can do whatever you need to do.
it's that crazy like indictment and conversation on like what it takes to be a man, right? Like why is it that we can't handle emotions like that? Why isn't that we can't talk about emotions like that?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Like I don't understand it, and it's been a realization that I've had to do as I've gotten older. Right when I was
Hmm.
younger, it was like you know what I mean. Like for reasons we'll get into on another show. Like there's that part of it where it's looked at as weakness, where you can't show anything. You got to turn yourself off to everything.
Right.
When you turn yourself off to everything, everything feels like nothing.
Yep.
Right? Like that's the other side of it. Where like too much joy isn't good. Where like there's a certain level of PTSD that comes with being a man that you know what I mean. Like we don't really address as a collective, right? Like male, like as just over every kind of man. So it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, like look at that, man. Like you had a dude, that you had a squad. You had one of the members of your squad that lost his dad in the middle of wartime,
Hmm.
and he chose almost like in that moment being quote unquote manly over dealing with his emotions and dealing with his loss. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Like that's what it quote unquote defines being a man. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
You see that thing
Hey,
behind
man,
me?
real quick.
Shit.
Yeah, is he licking his ass, bro?
I don't know. No,
Is
not
he
yet.
or she licking his ass? Look at
Keep
that.
he. It's a he.
Oh,
He's keeping
yo,
lookout.
yo, real quick. Why is he wearing a sweater? Is it cold in your
It's cold in
house?
the house, man. We
What's
got
up?
the AC cranked up, and
What's-
he also just got a
He
haircut.
has fur, bro. Oh, okay. He has fur. Though.
He weighs 9 pounds. There's no fat on that dude to keep him warm,
Oh my
or the
god,
fur is not
dude,
enough.
my dog right now is laid out, rolled under the blankets on the other side of the bed,
Hmm.
like the bed that you guys were sleeping on. That's the bed that he's laid on. Just knocked the fuck out, snoring like a motherfucker. I think my dog has sleep apnea. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a good chance he has sleep. Like, he's gonna have to have that little like breathing treatment, or like he might have to sleep with a CPAP machine. But yeah, man.
He got it from you.
Yeah, probably, bro. Probably. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're good, man. I think
Yeah,
we're good on this one. Was heavy, bro.
yeah, man. This
This
is
one was
heavy.
heavy. Yeah.
I don't think
Fuck.
I can. I
This
don't
is
think
like a
I don't
dark.
think I can keep this going, or I'm gonna go cry for five
Huh,
minutes before I watch 21 Bridges
fuck.
tonight.
I'm I'm gonna need a minute, boy. Like this, that was heavy. Like I did not expect that. I did not see that coming. But again, like that's what this podcast is supposed to be about, right?
Yep.
Like that's why when we talk about it, it's like we'll have an overarching idea of what we want to talk about, but we never want to like script it or have segments in that sense.
Hmm.
Where like we want to have that raw conversation, and whatever comes out of our mouth comes out of our mouth. Like I've said wild shit on previous podcasts. I mean,
You
like
have.
that's what I felt. Yeah, I have. Like I really have, and I don't regret it because that's who I am in that moment, right? Like I own all 136 episodes. You know what I mean? Like this is exactly who the fuck I am. Like it is what it is. Yeah, I cried in Mufasa. What? Like when Moana's grandma fucking came to her on the boat Yeah, it got me a little emotional, son. Like, what we gonna do? Like, this is what it is.
A little
I
teary
can
eyed.
cry in those moments. Get a little teary eyed. Who you are? Come on, son. But yeah, man. Look, we'll end this with I wanna thank Chadwick Boseman and his family and everybody for letting them share his gift with the rest of the world. We appreciated every second of it. You brought every role you ever had more class. We thank you, and I don't know what else we can say, man. We're gonna continue to support your movies and your roles. You left a lasting impact on the world, and amen. Wakanda forever.
That's right.
That's it. That's all I got. Before I fucking start crying on this
I'm not
podcast.
saying
Wait,
anything else. I'm
fuck
out.
around, fuck around and shed a tear and shit. All right, we're good. All right, guys. Catch you next time.
Later.